Um, so yes, there we go. So welcome everyone to one of the workshops during the conference Teach for LA. Thank you to all of our sponsors. I am Janet Rios. I am the Bilingual Academic Success Coach at Cuesta College Teacher Pathway Program. In the chat, please let us know where you are coming from. We're so happy that you are joining us today to learn about the pathways to credential, basic skills and subject matter requirements. We hope that you gain information from this workshop that will help you in your journey to becoming a teacher.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rosemary Wren, and I am the Education Faculty Lead here at Cuesta College. And I would like to take a moment for us to acknowledge the land that we are on our campus. And I happen to be on this land too in my home. And to acknowledge the Yaktitu Titu Yaktilhini Northern Chumash as the original, current, and future caretakers of the land and culture of this area occupied by Cuesta College. Cuesta College is in Tilhini, the place of the full moon, and we gratefully acknowledge, respect, and thank the Yaktitu Titu Yaktilhini Northern Chumash tribe of San Luis Obispo County and region, in whose homelands we are all guests. And I want to just take one quick moment to say that this is more than just words, that at Cuesta College and in our own practices that we are looking to be in community with the Northern Chumash and the Salinan people who are the caretakers and original owners of this land. And I encourage you to find out ways that you can be in community and support the people on whose land you might be on as well. If you want to know more about what's happening around here, I'm happy to share later on. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rosemary.
It's Janet, right? I'm David.
Hi, David. Nice to meet you. Thank you for joining us. Here's today's agenda. So I thank you for following along with us. Yeah, our agenda for today is we will introduce the teacher pathways, go over some requirements and pathways, things to keep in mind for those basic skills and subject matter requirements. And then we will go from there. So here's the agenda. Thank you everyone for joining us once more. And, thank you everyone who's been putting their name in the chat, first and last. My name is Janet Rios, pronouns she, her, ella, and I am a bilingual academic success coach with the Teacher Pathways program at Cuesta College. And, if you can have your camera on, cool, that's amazing. We're, excited to see your face. If not, we completely understand. Please make sure, to take care of yourself during this time. So again, thank you so much for joining us. And now at this time, we will be introducing important individuals who are part of our support team in the Teacher Pathways at Cuesta College. And so thank you again to everyone joining us. And so I guess I'll go. As you all heard, I'm the academic success coach with the Teacher Pathways at Cuesta College. And I am the liaison for the Dream Center at Cuesta as well. In my role as an academic success coach, I support students in the teacher pathway and just any student at Cuesta that may need help with time management, organization, study skills, connecting them to resources. Maybe the student, needs a soft handoff and wants to meet with financial aid. They want to talk to somebody in academic counseling, or maybe, you just want to kind of work through an idea that you have, want to sit down and write an email to a professor. The support I provide is very versatile, connecting students to, our partners at Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo, emailing different departments on different campuses, helping students access food, housing resources. Maybe you need a gas card, connecting you to the right person on campus. But every day can look so different in my role. My goal is to make sure a student is at their best as they navigate their education, their time at Cuesta, whatever it is you need to be the best version of yourself. I'm here to make that happen through support services that I offer. And so I encourage our students that are in the room with us today to make an appointment with me, or if you are a potential Cuesta student, I'm happy to sit down with you and connect with you about opportunities available at our college. So thank you once again for joining us today. And now I'm going to pass it on to our academic counselor with Cuesta College.
Hello, everyone. My name is Glenda Moscoso. My pronouns are she, her, ella. And right now I'm currently serving as the Teacher Pathways Designated Counselor here at Cuesta. And then I also wear another hat, which is the Student Success and Support Programs Division Chair. And I am so excited to be here this evening. I've been attending the sessions for Teach-LA Conference. So I know we have students from Cuesta, but also students from all over the state that are attending community college and that are following a teacher pathway. And I cannot tell you how impressed I am with all your participation throughout the conference, in your chats, and just your involvement and your engagement. I know for those of you that attended Rosemary's session this morning, it was so awesome to see your feedback and just the conversations that were going in the chat. So I want to encourage you to keep doing that today, because that's a wonderful way to really see you connect with each other and to be engaged. So one of the things that I do as a counselor, and again, as we've been discussing throughout the conference, is teachers change your life. So there were teachers that also changed my life. And there's the reason why I'm a counselor is because I'm another counselor, and I am so passionate about helping students achieve their academic and professional goals. And those are some of the things that I get to do. I feel so honored that I get to do that every day, working with my students. And as we've been discussing, we cannot talk about academics without really looking at holistically at what we bring, right? And our own experiences and validating those experiences. So that's what I get to do every day. I help the students, once if you're unsure about your major, if you want to explore different teacher pathways, and later on, actually, I'm going to share the 5 different pathways that we have here at Cuesta. I meet with the students. We talk about, how to connect you with resources. So if I need to make referrals, either with a faculty, with Janet, I work with a whole team. I always feel like it takes a village to help a student succeed, and I'm so honored that I play a little part. So that's me, Glenda Moscoso. I'm here for you. So with that, I want to share briefly about our 5 different teacher pathways that we have at Cuesta. So I know some of you, by the conversations that have happened already in the conference, some of you are already in a path, but for those of you who might be exploring teaching, I want to share with you that Cuesta College has 5 different pathways. We have the early childhood teacher, which is going to prepare you to work with infants, toddlers, and preschool age children in a variety of learning environments. And this pathway will educate and train students to become effective teachers, provide hands-on learning in the classroom, and support students to develop as teaching professionals. We have 2 different paths in ACE here at Cuesta, as well as many certificates, but the 2 associates that we have is the AA in child development and early childhood. We also have an ASD in early childhood education, and like I mentioned before, several certificates within that field, and as well as an AA in child and adolescent development. Another path that we have is for those students who want to work with elementary school children. So we have the elementary school teacher pathway, that it is for students that are interested in becoming elementary school teachers. And this is a path that, again, if you probably already, you are here in this workshop, but later on, you're going to hear more about the new law that was passed this bill that was passed this summer, AB 130. So for those students who want to get exempt from taking the CSETs, and you for sure want to be elementary school teacher, getting your bachelor's in liberal studies is one of the paths that is approved for being exempt from taking the CSET. So that's the path that we want to recommend, although there are other universities that are already approving other majors. I just recently heard that San Jose State has also approved their bachelor's in child development to be exempt for the CSETs for multiple subject teaching credential. Again, that's the first CSU that I heard that has another bachelor's approved to be exempt for the CSET. So I know this information is coming, is new, is evolving, but for sure, the liberal studies will exempt you from taking the CSETs. Another path that we have is the middle and high school teacher. And again, this is if you want to teach high school or middle school and you want to teach a single subject, meaning English, math, history, which will be the social science. There are other, we have like different majors here that you can pursue if you want to teach in a high school and middle high school. So again, that's another path. And again, in terms of not having to take the CSETs, the best advice that we can give you at the moment is that you finish your bachelor's in the subject that you want to teach. Another path is our special education teacher. So again, if you have a passion for working with the students that have disabilities, this is a really good path for you. It is going to help you work with students who might have autism spectrum disorders, mild and moderate disabilities, moderate or severe disabilities. And again, what a great difference could you make for these students by going into this path. And last but not least, we have our career technical program. Again, if you may teach 7 to 12 grades and classes primarily for adults. And there could be different pathways that you could, in CTE subjects, also known as industry sectors. So if you are interested in arts, media, entertainment, building, construction, welding, all those things that you might have a passion to, and you might want to pursue as a teaching path, please come and see us and we'll give you more information. So again, 5 pathways that we have at Cuesta, you have them in front of you. If you go to, when you get this PowerPoint, if you click on the teacher pathways, it's going to take you to our education website where you can learn more about them, and there are more resources within each one of them. So with that, I'll turn it over to Janet. And actually, Rosemary is going to take it.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Glenda, for going over the various pathways to teaching. Glenda has a wealth of knowledge and is an extremely wonderful resource here on our campus, and is able to share and guide you with your choices about which, which classes to take. And where you have different options of transferring to once you complete your associate's degree at Cuesta College, if you are choosing to go on to teaching in elementary or high school. And I saw a question in the chat about what BA for working with disabilities. And I'm not sure if, I don't want to speak out of turn. I believe that when you go to get your teaching credential is when it would matter for you to designate that you're interested in teaching special education. The baseline requirement for teaching is a bachelor's degree. And so you often have people who come in to the profession with a lot of different degrees. And so for special education, where that training really starts to occur or really does occur is in the teaching credential program. However, and coming up soon, is we're having a workshop at the end of the month about our paraeducator program and learning about paraeducation and special education. So you can start exploring certain topics and subject areas and majors before you get to your credential program. But I don't know, I'll let Glenda finish up about that.
Sure. Well, one of the things when we have met with several universities and we talk about the special education credential and which majors could really prepare students that want to get into those fields, some of the ones that they recommend is the child and adolescent development would be a really good path to choose. Any human development and human services would be another one, or psychology. So again, even though, yes, you can major in anything, right, to become a teacher, and Rosemary will show you, I think, she'll give you an overview, to become a teacher, in any, or in the path in elementary, single subject, special ed, bachelor's is needed. There are some that will probably give you the best, a legwork, right? In terms of the background that you need to really understand the population of students that you're working with. So again, for the special ed, the ones that they recommend is child and adolescent development, anything in human development, human services, or psychology.
Thanks, Glenda. And, another major is liberal studies, because the liberal studies degree will give you a really broad range of understanding of what's expected in a general education classroom. And today we're seeing that special education is taking place in the general education classroom, because we're bringing our special educators into the larger classroom to better serve our students. And like I said, at Cuesta College, we actually have a course and certificate programs in paraeducators. And what that is those are the folks who often are working alongside our young people who have an individualized education plan, and they are working in the classrooms with the general education teachers, with the special educators, and they're providing support and getting really meaningful experience. And right now, if you're a person who's pursuing any level of education degree, you could be working in a classroom in that role, because they're really, really looking for folks who are wanting to be in classrooms, wanting to be with children, wanting to learn, and who want to be teachers. And there's some basic information. Like I said, November 30th, we have a workshop coming up that everyone is welcome to join us in, and we'll share more information, because it's a really high need right now all over the state. And so that's why we're really trying to address that. And so what we're going to talk about now are some of the ways in which you can become a teacher. I think a lot of you have a sense of it, but even the other day I was talking about this with folks, and they were like, I didn't know I had to do that. And especially if you're at the beginning of this journey, and things are changing and there are new rules coming out here and there. So first off, you need a bachelor's degree. You can obtain that bachelor's degree at a 4-year school all at once, or you can come to Cuesta College or to another community college and then transfer to a 4-year university, and you need a bachelor's. If you are really, really sure you want to be a teacher, I highly recommend majoring in an education or child development, so that you get a sense of what you're in for. You want to make sure that you like working with children or some aspect of education, because it's not something for the faint of heart, let's say. It is something that you really want to be committed to, because it is the most rewarding thing in the world. But if you don't have that emotional connection to it, it can be really brutal. So make sure you want to be a teacher. And if you are sure, I would highly encourage you to consider an education degree at community college, and the degree for transfer, and then go into liberal studies, because that's going to take care of some of these other requirements along the way all at once, and you won't have to do anything extra. So once you graduate from your 4-year program, and you can satisfy your basic skills requirement that Alma's going to go into a lot more detail in a little bit. But a basic skills requirement is basically, can you read, write, and do math? And I'm sure every one of you can answer yes to that. And sometimes it's hard to show that on a standardized test, though. I personally don't do well on those exams. So we're really lucky to know, we're really fortunate that the state has come up with some other ways, and has always actually had a few other ways to do it. So you can satisfy that basic skills requirement while you're in your community college. You can do this before you even transfer or graduate. So if you have taken like your general ed English and math, then I encourage you to see if you can satisfy that requirement. And then there's another requirement on subject matter. And this is usually better to do after your 4-year, because then you'll have a lot more information once you've done all your general ed and you've done your major work, because this is where we're gonna, if you take the CSET, that's the exam option, there's a lot of questions about a lot of facts that you have to be able to answer. The one way around that right now is to be a liberal studies major, and that is probably going to evolve as time goes by. That's really not our focus tonight, but that is a requirement that you need to meet. And if you want to ask more questions about that, we're looking at having an opportunity to have more conversations around that. Once you get that exam done, then you get into your credential program. And this is a traditional thing where, okay, I graduated from my 4-year, I passed my basic skills and my subject matter, I'm going to a credential program. Most credential programs are a 1-year program, except for special education, that is generally a 2-year program with a master's. And I don't know every program in California or in the US, so there might be some that are different. And then as part of your credential program, you get to go in and teach. So some of you are taking Education 200 right now and are either doing virtual or in-person observations, where pretty much that's all you're doing. You're just looking, you're learning, you're absorbing. You haven't really had to do a lot of teaching yet. Your actual teaching practice comes in your credential program usually. And then before you get your full preliminary credential, you have to present to the Credential Commission that you know what you're doing, and you videotape yourself doing some lessons and reflecting on the lessons. And then finally, there is the reading instruction proficiency test that's called the RICA. And then you get to go off into your first year of teaching. You still have some more hoops to jump through, but they're just making sure, these are all about making sure that we have the best people, best prepared in the classrooms with the young people in this state. And we want to provide them the best education possible. So, yay. Okay, thank you. So this is, again, your bachelor's degree. You do your community college, you transfer, you go to your 4-year college university. And any major, but if you know you want to be a teacher, liberal studies is going to be a good choice. And there are some more that are evolving that are out there that offer you a broader range of topics. Make sure that the program you're going into, generally they're going to have some prerequisites that might not be part of a general major. So that's what Education 200 or Introduction to Teaching, and then a basic child development course. So it's good to check with your potential program, find out what their prerequisites are. They should be pretty consistent, and then see what courses at your college meet those, because you should have access to them. And at Cuesta, we are offering, and I'm sure other schools are offering, Intro to Education, Intro to Teaching as a fully asynchronous course. So if it's something, I know I have a few students who had already finished their bachelor's degree, but they joined us for the Education 200 because that's a prerequisite. And so if you need to do that on your own time, if you're already out working, that's a good option for you too. And then there are some other fun ways to get your teaching credential. And I think they're on the next slide. Okay, so yeah, this just is more about teacher credential programs. So I don't have to go forever on that. Most CSUs are the Cal State University is the biggest producer of teachers. There are online programs. Cal State Teach is an incredible program. It's through the CSU, but you can start teaching and be earning your credential at the same time. I actually have been in contact with the gentleman in our community who serves as liaison for that. So if you want to know more about that, it's a great resource because it's a Cal State program, but it's on your own time. So it's kind of like what some of the private programs are, but you're only paying Cal State tuition, which is generally going to be less. But the cool thing about that is you have your own classroom and you're earning a full teacher salary while you're getting your credential. It's hard because you're learning as you go, but it's a good way to go if you if that's something that you feel confident and that you're ready to approach. So I'm going to go to the next one. This is where I call this is a daring approach to getting your teaching credential, and I have a daughter who has chosen one of these, and she's doing a great job. It's a lot of work. So there are internships and either with districts, and I know some we have a lot of folks who are joining us from Southern California, and I know that Los Angeles Unified has district internships where, again, they'll hire you, they'll pair you up with a mentor teacher, and then you start teaching and you earn your credential by attending courses either online or in the evenings, on the weekends, to earn your degree. And I imagine a lot of you have heard of Teach for America or City Year. I have a former student who's doing City Year right now in New York, and she's loving it. My daughter's doing Teach for America. And the way these work is after you have your bachelor's, you apply to the program, and then they guide you through all the steps to become eligible to start studying for your credential. You get paid again, like the Cal State Teach, you get paid your salary while you're teaching, but you're also going to school. So not only are you designing learning opportunities for children, you are also going to school yourself. So you have to be someone who can just dive right in. So there are links in the slides that you can follow to get more details, or you can contact me if you're interested. It's definitely the tougher way to go, but it's also a way that you can earn money and work at the same time. And they pay, like, for example, I know for Teach for America, they're paying the tuition for the credential and the master's that my daughter is earning. It's definitely a hard job, though. It's a lot of work. So yeah. So again, you can get experience along the way, and we really encourage folks, if you are interested in becoming a teacher, test it out first, which is why Education 200 Intro to the Teaching Profession is such a great course for folks who are even just thinking about it. And I know I saw Kelsey here, and she commented that she's already had her bachelor's, and I know she's not entirely sure she wants to teach. She's looking at maybe library or other things. It's a great course to better understand what goes on in California education, how teachers come up with what they come up with. And again, at Cuesta, we also are supporting the paraeducator profession, which is they're in desperate need of paraeducators. You can be working, most of them start a minimum of $15 an hour, and learning. So while you're earning your living, but you're also learning about teaching and getting some skills. You can tutor, work in after-school programs, in-home childcare provider. So all of these things, if you do any of these things, build your resume with these while you're in school, because these are really important, valid pre-teaching roles to play. And these are going to look really good on your resume and give you the experience that will help you be a really effective and engaging teacher. So that's that. And I'll go ahead and turn it over to Alma, who is going to share with us your options for the CBEST, or the basic skills requirement.
Thank you, Rosemary. Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. My name is Alma. I work for the Cal Poly School of Education. So I actually support students who have already completed their degrees and are getting into the credential programs. I do work with undergraduates as well when they are preparing to apply for our programs. Today, I'm going to talk about some of the requirements in general, not just specific to Cal Poly. These are requirements that are implemented by the California Commission on Teacher Credentialing. So I know Dr. Rosemary Wren spoke about the pathway to get into a credential program. And yes, you do, you get your degree, you apply to a credential program, but we are just preparation programs. Ultimately, the Commission on Teacher Credentialing, CTC, is the entity that issues you your credential when you complete all of these requirements. So my job is to help you check all those boxes, make sure you're meeting all the state requirements so that you are prepared for the CTC to issue you your credential. So first I'm going to talk about, these are the programs we offer at Cal Poly specifically, but for all credential programs in California, you are required to satisfy the basic skills requirement and the subject matter competence requirement. And generally those are admission requirements. So keep in mind, these are two very different requirements: basic skills, which we refer to as BSR here, and subject matter competence, SMC. Those are the two requirements that you will have to meet. So first I will talk about the BSR. So Christina, could you move us to the next slide? Thank you. So first I'm going to go over the options for satisfying the basic skills requirement. Many of you may already be aware that in July, Governor Newsom signed a legislation to expand your options to meet BSR, which is really good news for educator or those who are on the pathway to become an educator, because it removes so many barriers to meet this requirement. And it's addressing a lot of the issues that we're having with teacher shortages. So the first option, and this is something that you can start thinking about now, is start doing a self-check on whether you possibly have already met the basic skills requirement by some of these methods. So I would check, have you taken the SAT? Have you taken the ACT, possibly in high school if you were thinking of applying to colleges, or maybe you chose to go to community college, but you still took this exam, or maybe you took an AP exam in high school. If you meet any of these qualifying scores that you're seeing on the screen, 570 in evidence-based reading and writing, or a 560 in math, if you took the SATs after March 2016, then you meet the basic skills requirement. Back before March 2016, it was a 500 in reading and a 550 in math. If you meet those scores, you have met BSR. If you took a ACT and you had a 22 in English or a 20 and a 23 in math, then you have met the requirement. And for AP, a score of 3 or higher in both English and mathematics. And then there are also additional options to mix and match these results. So if you didn't, let's say you got the qualifying score in reading through SAT, but not in math, but you got it in math through ACT, you can mix and match those exams. And then if you don't meet one or more of the requirements through these options, you can move on to coursework. And coursework is the additional option that Governor Newsom just signed off, is that you can now use your undergraduate coursework, community college coursework, as long as it's degree applicable. You can use that to meet the basic skills requirement. There is no time limit on these. So if the 3 areas that you have to meet through coursework are reading, which typically is general ed area A3. So an English course that covers critical thinking, literature, philosophy, reading, rhetoric, or textual analysis. So it does have to come from the English department. It does have to be an English course. And the easiest way to identify if you have met that is if you can look at your A3 requirement, and if you've passed it with a grade of B- or better. Now that's a state requirement. So B- or better, or a pass/credit score that will also be accepted. For writing, general ed area A2, an English course that covers composition, English, rhetoric, written communication, or writing. And for math, general ed area B4. So a math course in algebra, geometry, quantitative reasoning, or statistics. So a couple notes about these courses: they do have to be taken at a regionally accredited college or university. They have to be 3 semester units or 4 quarter units. It does have to be a degree applicable course, AA coursework included, AAAS coursework, and you can mix and match these options as well with any of the ones I've already talked about. So if you met math through AP or SAT, but maybe you didn't quite meet the reading or writing, we can use your coursework and mix and match. I'm saying we because the teacher preparation program is going to be doing this evaluation for you when you get to that point. So you should start preparing for this now, but the credential program that you apply for is a program that's going to be signing off on this requirement. So if you're thinking of applying to CSU Long Beach, start making your connections with the credential department at CSU Long Beach. Or if you're planning to apply to Cal Poly, I would be the person that you talk to. So just start doing your own assessment of what are maybe the different ways that you can meet this, and start connecting with the education department. That's what we're here for. And we're happy to look at your requirements and do an evaluation. And then the final requirement option to meet the basic skills requirement is called the CBEST. I'm sure many of you have heard of that exam. It's California Basic Educational Skills Test. It's a 3-part exam in reading, writing, and math. So if you don't meet your requirements to one of the options above that I've already talked about, you can take the CBEST, or you can take components of the CBEST. So maybe you didn't meet math through coursework or SAT, ACT, AP, then you can take the math CBEST, and we can use your scores or a coursework to combine all of the requirements. So that is an option. So you can mix and match CBEST, you can mix and match coursework, you can mix and match the exams, SAT, ACT. So I know there's some questions in the chat right now, but I am going to put resources from Cal Poly's website. This is from Cal Poly's website, but they do apply to all preparation programs. Well, they should, because we're just interpreting what the CPC requires. So no, CBEST does not expire, and neither does the coursework for it. So I will move along now to, I'm going to briefly talk about options for satisfying the subject matter requirements. I mentioned there's 2 requirements for credential programs. There's the basic skills, which you all just heard about, and now we have subject matter. Now this one's more focused on the content area that you want to teach. So if you want to be an elementary school teacher, you have to meet the multiple subject matter content. If you would like to be a high school math teacher, then you have to meet the mathematics subject matter content, English subject matter content, whatever you want to teach. For education specialists, it's the multiple subject matter content. So you can complete this by a variety of methods now. You can complete what's called a commission approved subject matter waiver program. This means that you're completing coursework during your undergraduate degree that will meet the subject matter requirement. So you will have to check with your undergraduate institution to see if they have an approved subject matter waiver program in the content area that you want to teach. A new option now, which is really exciting, is holding a bachelor's degree or higher in an approved major. So this new law that I mentioned earlier expands the options to meet subject matter. So if you are an English major and you want to teach high school English, you've met subject matter. If you are a liberal studies major and you want to teach elementary, then you meet the multiple subject matter. So that's really really exciting. It's the first year that we've been able to accept that. So if you have questions about your degree, you can also reach out. And then finally, if you don't meet subject matter through those options, you can take the exam. You can take the California Subject Examination for Teachers. And so successful passing of all these subtests will allow you to satisfy subject matter for the program you're interested in. So please use the link that I posted in the chat. Everything I just talked about is summarized on that page. It's broken down by basic skills and subject matter. And I will show you a table that I also have on that link on the next slide, you'll see it's kind of small here, but on that link that I sent you, there's a table where every single degree that we are accepting is already listed. So if you have any doubts of whether your degree qualifies for subject matter, you can check out this table, and we've broken it down. For education specialists, you're kind of in a good place because any degree that counts for multiple subjects and single subject satisfies subject matter for education specialists. So that's really exciting for that field. I believe that's it for that. To be honest with you, I was not looking at the chat, so I don't know if there are any questions or if we can address those later, Rosemary.
Yeah, I mean, there were some good questions. For example, do the CBEST scores ever expire? And the answer is no.
The CBEST scores do not expire, but the CSET scores do expire after 10 years.
Okay, that's good to know. And my understanding, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Alma, but my understanding is if you are meeting the basic skills requirement with coursework, it doesn't matter how long ago that course was taken, because
there's no recency requirement for the coursework either.
And that's important for some of us who have come back to school after a long time. So that's really, that was a good question.
Yes, there is also a question in the chat about the child development degree. Right now, it's not accepted. That doesn't mean it won't be later. CTC is constantly changing. Refer to that table that is in that link in the chat. Child development is not currently listed on there. However, there is an option when you get to your communicating with your teacher preparation program that you want to enroll in, talk to them because they might be able to accept part of your coursework with a combination of CSET. So that's just something to talk to your teacher preparation program about.
And I think too, to remember that if you have a child development degree, you can still go into elementary school teaching through a credential program. You just there might be some prerequisites that you would have to take.
And Maricela has a good question in the chat. To find out if your classes qualify for CBEST, you will need to talk to the teacher preparation program that you're applying for.
And Alma, San Jose State, I have it on writing that they are accepting the child development, their bachelors. I guess they are. I mean, I don't. Yeah, so that's what they told me.
Yeah, I'll have to check with that because I don't know. That's something I haven't heard about. But
it just came. I just chatted with them maybe two or three weeks ago. Yeah.
So we did also have a question from someone that was wondering about how they find their old SAT scores. So I'm assuming SAT or ACT, how would a student find their scores?
To find your SAT or ACT scores, you would log into your College Board account or go to the ACT website. If you don't remember your login, you can just do the forgot password, try to retrieve your account information. Worst case scenario, you can contact customer support and have them help you reset your account. And you can log in and find your unofficial score reports. You don't need to pay and order one. You can just download your unofficial scores and check the scores against what I have shared in the slide. And we also have the scores on that link I sent you. So just check them against that and always verify with the credential program you plan to apply for. They end up doing the verification. It is something we check for during admission. So it's not uncommon for you to be connecting with the credential analyst at whatever program you would like to go for.
And so I see a question here from Terry, who has a master's and has been teaching at a college level, but would like to be a resource teacher. I know I will need the credentialing program. Any recommendations? So to be a resource teacher would fall into the category of special education. And Cal Poly happens to have a wonderful program there. I don't know if you have more advice in that realm, Alma?
We do. It is, I know you mentioned you have a master's already. It is integrated with a master's degree. It is a one-year program. So we do have a program, but actually I'm going to give you another resource in the chat. It's a dashboard from the California Commission on Teacher Credentialing that you can filter different programs by the content area that you want to teach. And it's a good way to see, so if you wanted to teach or look for an education specialist program, it will filter which schools offer it, and then you can look into those schools and see what they offer. You can see what authorizations that each of those programs also offers. So our program is mild to moderate. You might be interested in doing moderate to severe, whatever you're interested in, but it is going to require some self-research on which institutions offer these programs and see if it fits with, even like your lifestyle, your schedule. Our program is full-time. It's like Monday through Friday, you're busy all day. It's pretty difficult to work when you're that busy with the student teaching and the curriculum for the master's and the credentials. So I will post the dashboard in the chat if that's helpful for anyone who's still trying to narrow down their search and figure out which program they want to be in. So I'm going to do that right now.
Okay, and then I see Daniela's asking, what are some good credential programs to becoming a pre-K or elementary teacher? And those exist all over the place, and they're really great options all across the state of California. The California State University system has an incredibly vibrant group of teacher education programs. And so starting with the CSUs is a great place. If you need to work and earn your credential, then I would recommend Cal State Teach or one of those internship programs that I had mentioned before. If you're in the Los Angeles area, you can look at their internship program through their district. So there are a lot of options for you to do your K-12 or K-6, and we need you. And one thing we haven't talked about, Alma, and anyone, is the need that we have for educators who speak more than one language. And just as with special education, there's a tremendous need for that. I hope I'm not speaking out of turn when I say that Cal Poly has some really generous incentives for people who are interested in pursuing a bilingual credential or a special education credential. And there is a grant that they have that can provide some incredible financial support for you. So if you're interested in that, Alma, do you?
Yeah, I can definitely.
Brianna's right there. You can contact Brianna. So
yes, I did put her contact information here specifically to put in a major plug for the bilingual authorization. So with any of those credentials that I mentioned, multiple subjects, single subject, and special education, you can add on a bilingual authorization. We do offer a program for that, and it's just an additional class each quarter. If you are admitted, you do have to pass the Spanish CSET subtest 3 to be admitted, but it's a great add-on to your credential. It prepares you as an educator to really help your students see themselves in the classroom, develop culturally competent and linguistically competent curriculum. We have a 5-year grant, so I don't know what stage many of you are in right now, but if you're planning to apply to a credential program within the next 4 years, because our programs are it's called the tier residency program, started this year. And if you are getting a bilingual authorization, or if you are interested in special education, you can apply for that program, and it pays for your program, and you do get a stipend for living stipend. So I know San Luis Obispo is an expensive area to live in, so it is a great incentive. And there is a commitment though to teach at one of our partner districts, the CMR or the Santa Maria Bonita School District. So that is something to keep in mind. Dr. Brianna Ronan is the expert on the tier residency program and the bilingual authorization. Please contact her. Her email is there if you are interested, or you can contact me. I can connect you with her. And if you have any questions about our programs or our requirements, you can also contact me or our other credential analyst, Brittany.
Yeah, and Dr. Ronan was just in my class yesterday and talking about the tier program. So it's very exciting and very attractive for folks who can use that support. And we need you to teach. I was looking at Marilyn's question about who has it sounds like a fair amount of experience working with special education and has her high school SATs. So as far as credential programs, I would encourage you to look into Cal State Teach and also look into this tier program. Contact Dr. Ronan and see if maybe that would be, that stipend would be enough for you to be able to commit to that program. Or again, looking at some of the other internship Learn As You Go programs.
Alma, did you have anything else for us before we transition to the other speaker?
I don't have anything else. I did see Regina's message in the chat. If you want to add additional author content areas in any of the languages you speak, if they are offered, then, or if you do find a credential program that offers preparation in that, you can always apply to a program to teach that language, or you can add it on to your credential later on by meeting those requirements. So, and it does help. I think it does help to have to be multilingual, because it helps you connect with more of your students.
Thank you, Alma. Rosemary, are you available for the CBEST component?
Yeah. Sorry, I was reading all these comments. So one other question about a person who is an LVN working with a student in a special ed class. And I can't speak to what the coursework is that you did to become an LVN, but I imagine you have some coursework there that would be a Glenda question, actually. I'm not going to.
Yes, I am here. So again, any general ed courses that we can use towards your transfer work that will help you get towards your bachelor's, right? We can use it. Again, is determining which major you want to get your bachelor's on. And then again, depending on your experience, like I said, that experience, once you have your bachelor's and you want to get into one of those programs that Rosemary was talking about, where your experience as a paraeducator, can count. Again, that could be a route, but again, we will have to evaluate your coursework and see what can be used. But you if you are in some service for a requested student, make an appointment with me. I'll be happy to look at your coursework and create a plan for you.
And if you're not a Cuesta student, whatever community college you're a part of has, well, they don't have Glenda, but they have people who can provide you the same kinds of feedback and resources.
Thank you for the follow-up.
Well, I have to speak highly of Glenda because she was my own daughter's counselor when my own daughter was here at Cuesta, and she very successfully transferred to Davis after being at Cuesta. So I appreciate Glenda every day. And so I'm vouching for the fact that she's an amazing counselor. So if you do choose to take the CBEST, and if you just want to get it over with and you don't want to have to look through all the courses you've ever taken, the CBEST is still an option. It's still a definitive option. You take it once you pass a section of the CBEST, you don't ever have to come back to it. So let's say you happen to be you've taken a lot of courses and you've cleared the basic skills requirement for, say you did reading and writing, but you never took that math class, or you didn't get a B- or better in the math class. So you need to pass that part of the basic skills. So you can take any one part of the CBEST, which is really cool, because it used to be that you had to take the whole thing and sit down for the whole test, even if you wanted to just take one part. again. So there are 3 sections, and this is the breakdown. It's pretty straightforward. Multiple choice for math and reading, and the writing has 2 essays. And someone had asked earlier about the math in the CBEST, and we've shared links to the CBEST site in these slides, and there are practice tests there, so you can literally see exactly the level of math that you're going to be asked about. But pretty much, I like to say it's pretty much what you might expect to have to teach through the 6th grade. So algebra, yes, because if you think about it, any word problem that's asking you to solve for an answer is an algebra. And you're going to have to do fractions. I think when I've done some of the review courses, the things that people don't like the most about math are the fractions. And that's a great thing is at Cuesta, we do have, and all the community colleges I know have student success centers with peer tutors, faculty tutors who can help you get through that. And a lot of the community colleges offer workshops where you can really just hone in on those topics that you really need the extra work on. So the reading, it's generally comprehension. So you'll read a passage and answer some questions about the passage. And the writing is another place I find that people feel intimidated. And I will say that the CBEST test, it's a pretty straightforward writing task. So if you just go in there and know you're going to have to write one thing about an experience that you've had, and one thing where you basically show you know how to write an argument, it's not like a 10-page paper, it's a few paragraphs. And absolutely, I am not a fan of standardized tests in any way, shape, or form. I think they really put a lot of extra pressure on people, and it's only like one moment in time that you are you're being asked to perform. And so that's why I'm really grateful to see that we have other options besides the CBEST. But if you do choose to take it, this is what you're in for. And let's say you take it and you're having a bad day and you don't get the score that you need, you can just retake that part of the exam. At the next chance that you have. And I see that David has his hand up. Did you have a question for us, David?
Yeah, so would that take a total of 5 hours?
It would. If you sat down to take the whole thing, yes. And I think that's also why they're offering it in one subject at a time. Because it can be very fatiguing if you have to sit there and take the whole exam. I think before they made this change, it was a 4-hour time slot. So I think there's some breaks there's some breaks worked in here. Excuse me. So, excuse me. All right, so we can go to, excuse me, we can go to the next slide. So the if you do end up taking the CBEST, each section is going to cost you $30. So that's another reason it's great to meet this requirement with your coursework that you've already taken, right? And you don't have to pay extra. And right now, the only way to take it is on the computer. You can take it at a Pearson Test Center, and these are all over the place. This link will take you to the Pearson site, and you put in your zip code and it'll let you know where the nearest one is for you. Something cool for Cuesta students is our North County campus is a Pearson Test Center. Now, realize that it is at the North County campus in Paso Robles. It is not the main campus. So if you set that up, make sure you give yourself time to get to Paso Robles. Once you register there, you have a year to take it. So if something came up, you could possibly move it. Although these appointments are in high demand, so it's good to make your appointment when you're pretty sure you're going to be able to take it. I did find out that they do have some limited home online proctoring. I think about this because I think about my qualifying exams for my graduate program. And the year before I took mine, The students who took them had someone, they had to be proctored online. So literally someone was watching them the whole time. This would make me personally kind of anxious, but if you can just ignore that and it would be fine with you, then you could take it in the comfort of your own home. But definitely check the site because they only offer it 1 week per month in that modality. So, but that would save you a trip to a testing center. So those are your options. So if you are choosing the CBEST or just want to learn more about it, please check out the California Teaching Commission website, and that is a link in the slides that we'll be giving you. It has everything you need to know, way more than I'm going to talk about tonight. Also, free practice tests. I recently took the GRE not that long ago, and I have to say that the practice tests saved me. I mean, they made me feel so confident when I walked into that exam. I felt really comfortable when each question popped up on the screen. And so it's really important, even if you're pretty sure you know everything, check out the format for the test because every test is a little different. The vocabulary that they use might be different than what you're used to thinking about. And so I highly recommend that. Cuesta, and like I said, other community colleges have success centers. And in the past at Cuesta, and one of the things we're going to ask you tonight is, if you are taking the CBEST, if you're interested in this, we have offered workshops in each of the subject areas for people who decide they are going to take the exam. And we have English faculty and math faculty who will meet with those groups of people and they're very familiar with the format of the test, the types of questions they're going to be asking you, the type of writing style that you're going to need. And so if you do choose to take the CBEST, please let us know because we'll be offering those opportunities, those workshops for free. They're free and they'll be online. So we look at some of the things that have evolved out of our experience with COVID. And one of the, I hate to say a benefit, but it is a benefit. We've learned how to navigate this online space and how useful it can be. Look at a lot of you wouldn't be here tonight if we weren't doing this as a virtual meeting. So we will be offering those workshops if we have people who are interested in attending, and then we'll get in touch. We don't have them planned right now because we're hoping that most people will be able to meet this subject matter, or, excuse me, the basic skills requirement through your coursework. So let us know if you're interested in taking the CBEST, which of these topics, and I'm seeing a lot of people who are responding to the poll that we have up here. So yeah, so that is something that is not currently on our calendar. We don't have those planned because it's work to do that. And if we do them, it'll likely be in the spring semester because I don't see that we have a way of doing them before that. So it's great to see we have a pretty broad interest in it. So thank you. And so I think this was actually a slide from a presentation that Janet and I did, and talking about like how, finding the resources that you need. I don't know, Janet, are you able to talk about this in the next slide or?
I can do it now really quick just to make sure we don't take time away from other areas, but definitely one thing I tell every student, what do you need to be at your best, whether that is tutoring, do you need help with that English class, do you need housing resources, do you have a mentor on campus you can go to? I always encourage every student to reflect on that and to find that to make sure we can support you through your time at a community college and help you get to where your next step is. Yeah, so I think that's all it really was. I just want to, that's find those resources you need.
And I think we brought that up because Janet's really good at finding those resources with you. If you ask for help in those areas, Janet or your campus student success person can really help you to find them along with your counselors as well.
We do have time for some questions, so feel free to put your questions into the chat. We'll leave the screen up and we have a few more slides, but I see a question around fulfilling the requirement with coursework.